Guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Walker Ford, and guess what? We have a little performance car comparison to do. We're going to pit a 2018 Subaru WRX STI against a Ford Mustang GT. Now, they may not seem like the two most likely competitors, but if both cars are brand new, which I know that this STI is not brand new, but if both cars were brand new, they pretty much fall almost in perfect alignment when it comes to price point. And I know there's many of you out there that are actually cross-shopping these two particular vehicles, even though they're so diametrically separated and apart from one another. Now, if many of you are scratching your head and saying, well, Joe, how can we do a 2018 against a brand new Mustang GT? The 2018 STI is pretty much the same exact STI that you could buy brand new off of any Subaru lot. Ford Mustang GT is going to be that standard GT. This is a non-performance package car because that would have put us too high of a price point. But let's talk a little bit of history about these two cars. Ford Mustang, been around since 1964 and a half, that classic rear-wheel drive muscle car experience. The WRX STI from Subaru, that rally car, all-wheel drive, has been around since the early 1990s, was first seen here on our shores in 2004. Now, what's fascinating, if you go back to 2004, the STI really had a leg up on the Mustang GT at the time. But because Subaru has not really injected a lot of extra performance since 2004 for the STI, this Mustang GT, when it comes to horsepower numbers, has really increased. But why don't we go ahead, let's dive in and compare these two performance cars and see really which way should you go with your hard-earned money. Off the bat, Subaru WRX STI has such iconic styling. This one is featured in what's known as GDM, dark gray metallic, really has a nice sparkle to it. 2018 did get a refresh. Now, the 2020s have a little bit of a different change, but I'll get to that in a second. But you're going to get full LED headlights. Not only are they LED headlight and daytime running lamp, but they're also adaptive, which means they turn with the steering wheel. As we drop down, you do have this large fake vent area. Now, it does flow some air for aerodynamic purposes, but this is not for engine or brake cooling. So I am going to zonk the sheer size of this fake vent area. As we come across the front, you're going to get that iconic hood scoop. This is a functional hood scoop. You have that intercooler for that turbocharged flat 4 underneath there. We drop down and then you get, for 2018, they kind of slimmed up the grille a little bit, went with a little metallic black, that iconic Subaru logo, the STI badge, Subaru Technica International, and this is that more aggressive front end for 2018. Now, the 2020, the only difference is they changed out the fake vent with a more functioning vent that actually looks a little bit more aggressive and actually better, which beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but take a look at a 2020, and that is one area that they definitely improved on. Ford Mustang GT. Now, this particular design, they refreshed it in 2018. So as you can see, there has been a connection with the refresh between the Mustang and the Subaru, both taking place in 2018. They changed up the headlight style a little bit, has the chrome trim ring, full LED headlight. You have your LED tri-bar daytime running lamps. You are going to have a functional side air curtain there. This part has been designed, believe it or not, after Darth Vader's helmet. Ford designers actually looked at the Darth Vader helmet. And then we come across that unmistakable Mustang Grille. So you have this nice honeycomb gloss black finish, the chrome pony. I love these little angled crossbars there. Really gives it a nice aggressive look. And then you're going to have the flat black on the bottom portion with a very, very simple front lip spoiler or splitter. That's going to help channel air into the front radiator, give us a little bit of downforce up onto the hood. It harks back to the late 1960s. You have two functional heat extractors. Also, that honeycomb design going to take that hot air from underneath the hood. But I love the very strong, powerful muscle car body lines in the Mustang GT. This is that classic Kona blue color. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the sides and the backs of these two performance vehicles and see how different they really are. All right, guys, time to take a journey around the side and the back of the STI. When we come around the bend, one thing that is definitely I think a lot nicer and better on this particular STI is for 2018. You get a 19-inch wheel. I love the metallic gray finish, really works well with the dark gray metallic. And then you have, for the first time ever seen on an STI, these bright yellow, neon yellow 6-piston calipers. So these neon bananas are gonna clamp down on those cross-drilled and fully ventilated rotors. Now, from a braking standpoint, the STI wins hand down for having 6-piston calipers and those cross-drilled and fully ventilated rotors. You have that nice cherry blossom color STI Subaru Technica International. We go down the side, you're gonna have that traditional flared out look to the side of the STI, gives it that rally car look. I'm gonna have Tom kind of swing around and show you the back side of that flared out fender. Very, very nice, aggressive sill down along the bottom. Everything is for aerodynamic flow. This one is a limited trim, so you're gonna get a sunroof on this limited spec STI. We keep working our way back. Of course, if you need 4-door flexibility, you're not gonna get it on a Mustang unless you get 2 Mustangs and connect them together front to back. 4-door capability, the shark fin antenna, and then of course, no STI is complete without its rear wing. This rear wing and the hood scoop goes together with an STI, just like peanut butter and jelly, just like cheese and pepperoni on a pizza. When we get to the tail end of the business, really, really clean. You have your LED brake lights, that STI badging. Now this one, because it is a 2018, it was traded in, has a Cobb catback exhaust, really nice slash cut. It's gonna give us that boxer rumble sound, which the Subaru needs stock to have that extra sound, because when they're stock, they're really, really quiet. But of course, you're gonna get that full-time all-wheel drive. This being the STI means you get 3 differentials to help get that power. I love the simulated rear diffuser, but even if you go brand new, this is exactly the tail end of the business that you're gonna see. But why don't we go ahead, let's check out the side and the back of the Mustang GT. All right guys, time to take a trip around the Mustang GT. So this being just your standard GT, this is the wheel that you're gonna get at this entry level. Now this is an 18-inch wheel, so it is 1 inch smaller in diameter than the STI. This one has 4-piston calipers, non-Brembo, performance branded or anything like that. Decent sized rotor, no cross drill, but they are ventilated. And when it comes to wheel and tire, you're gonna get a better ride out of this Mustang GT down the highway, because this is a 50 series tire compared to the more rubber band-esque sidewall of the STI. Now, when we go down the fender, very powerful lines, very muscular, that hark back to the original Mustangs. 5.0. Listen, underneath this hood, there's that old saying, there's no replacement for displacement. You're gonna get a 5-liter V8, 460 horsepower. That's where the Mustang's gonna win. But the classic fastback design, I like the side sill extension, flat black, that goes well with that little spoiler, lip spoiler up front. We get to the rear, you have the flared out rear fenders, that classic look. And then when we get to the tail end of the business, you're gonna find a nice low color match trunk lid spoiler. You're also gonna get the iconic LED tri-bar taillights, the GT badge, and then the quad exhaust slash cut looks really good, especially with this flat black diffuser. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hoods and see what's powering these 2 performance cars. All right guys, we got the hoods popped on these 2 performance cars. Remember, new to new, it's the same price point, and even though it's a 2018, same exact engine as a 2020. That is that 2.5 liter flat 4 turbocharged engine. Now in 2019 they did do, 2019 they did do a horsepower increase. So on this 2018, you are looking at, horsepower wise, a total of 305 horsepower, 290 pound-feet of torque. It's all mated to a 6-speed manual transmission, only transmission available on an STI. 0 to 60 in about 4.9 seconds, quarter mile in about 13.1, top speed around 158 miles an hour. If you're worried about MPGs, 17 in the city, 22 on the highway. Now what I love about this engine is that flat 4, there's no plastic. You see the intercooler, the intake plenum, and as you can see, even though it's a 2018, still very, very clean, with the hydraulic hood struts. Now on the Mustang GT, we have, of course, that aircraft carrier piece of plastic, which I just want to rip off and throw as hard as I can. So that is a zonk underneath the hood, and you have a prop rod. So no hood struts. I know some people don't mind the prop rod, but underneath all that plastic and all that mystery is going to be that 5-liter V8, 460 horsepower, 420 pound-feet of torque. This one is mated to a 6-speed manual, but you can get the 10-speed automatic if you know how to shift 0 to 60 in about 4.2 seconds, quarter mile in 12.7. The car weighs around 3,705 pounds. MPGs, 15 in the city, 24 in the highway. And before I forget, if you were wondering, well, how much does the STI weigh with all-wheel drive? You're looking around 3,451 pounds. But as you can see, much different in performance. Hands down, the Mustang GT is going to beat the STI in a drag race. But as you know, there's more to driving than just driving in a straight line. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up these two performance cars and see what they sound like. Guys, we're inside the 2018 Subaru WRX STI. Many similarities as the 2020. 2020 is going to have 5 more horsepower. That gives you 310. Now, I know you're probably wondering, well, Joe, what's the price point on this Limited? A Limited is going to run you about $43,000 brand new. Definitely check out Walker Ford's site. They have not announced the price yet for this particular one. I'm going to guess they're going to ask around $32,000. It has 14,000 miles on it. Let's see what you get, though, for the money. To the door panels, I love the Alcantara, the red contrast stitching, soft material across the top, a little bit of gloss black on the door panel. And this one has the Harman Kardon sound system, a nice little pocket down there for some sushi rolls, maybe a little bit of ginseng or something like that. Dash, soft material, that gloss black continues. It's just a little bit. One of my favorite parts about the STI is you get the split screen setup because that 4-inch display has, as you can see, a boost gauge, and you could scroll through a plethora of information. It's like a cornucopia. It's like Thanksgiving and everybody's getting a gauge. So you have tons of information there. Toggle down, you're gonna have your 7-inch Starlink system. No Apple CarPlay, no Android Auto. You gotta get a 2019 or a 2020 if you want that. But this does have navigation. There's your navigation, start, stop. So you got push button start, dual climate control, which is nice. You got a pocket down here for your Tootsie Rolls. There's a 12 volt and one of those pesky plugs, which I can't stand. But I love the way they have the leather, the stitching, the STI badge. This lights up at night, nice bright color. You have your STI specific shift knob. That short throw, this is where the magic happens. You know, maybe at your house, you might have that one room where the magic happens. In here, this is where the magic happens. This thing is so short, so crisp, so wonderful. And if you're thinking, oh, I'll just go get a WRX, different gearbox, not the same. Another area that's different than on the WRX is your SI drive control. So you have 3 different modes: Sport, Sport Sharp, and Intelligent. And then you also have underneath here that electronic center diff. So you got a limited slip diff out front, out back, and that electronic diff. You could actually divvy up some of the power manually, or you could do full lock mode only when you're on gravel, snow, sand, rocky conditions, not on asphalt. Don't do that. You have this nice lid, open it up, 2 cup holders. Here's your very tasteful Subaru key fob. It's got a nice weight to it. I like the silver on the sides. Good old-fashioned e-brake. And then this one has the optional raising armrest. Now, with it in its raised position, it's nice. The zonk is that it's this rubber material. It's like made by Rubbermaid. So I wish they didn't do that, but it real easily, if I just push it right, there we go, sort of easily, goes back in the standard position. You do have heated seats, and the seats are the Recaro. So remember, it's just the back Recaro. I love the piping, the Alcantara, the leather. This portion is stock STI. I wish it had a little bit more bolstering, but look what you got for 2018. You got the red seat belts with the Recaro seats. Very nicely done. And because this is a limited, you do have a sunroof and a frameless auto dimming mirror, which was an extra option on this particular car. But why don't you come on over to the business end? I'll show you behind the wheel of this STI. All right, guys, business end. I love the STI. The little aluminum trim here is very, very nice. You do have an 8-way adjustable seat, both bottom and back. Steering wheel is a little piece of rally car heaven. I love this steering wheel, flat bottom. You have the STI logo, great notches at 10 and 2. Flat black buttons makes it easy, and the dash is on the money. You have that LED backlit analog tack, analog speedometer, and in the center there, you have your digital readout. Watch when I go into the different modes. So in SI drive mode, there's Sport Sharp, there's Intelligent, and then I go back to Sport. Also, the center diff. This is where you could transfer that power to the rear or the front manually, or you could just leave it in automatic mode, and there's actually 3 automatic modes. Pedals are on the money. You have a nice brushed aluminum dead pedal, clutch, brake, and throttle. And then look at the heel toe. Look at this. Oh, I can do this all day long. So very nicely done when it comes to pedal setup. Let's check something out that the Mustang barely has. Let's check out the rear seat. All right, guys, backseat time. This is where the Subaru wins, hands down, because when you look at the backseat in the Mustang, you'll understand why. I got plenty of leg room, plenty of headroom, leather all the way around. You have pockets for both passengers. Put a back scratcher in there, put a checkered flag, put a bunch of speeding tickets, because it's gonna happen in this car because it's that much fun to drive. You do get red seat belts for the passengers, of course, Alcantara, the red leather, and then look at this. You got a nice size armrest, perfect height, 2 cup holders, no rear AC or anything like that, so I am gonna zonk it, but Mustang doesn't have that. Let's check out the trunk and see how much room we have in this STI. All right, guys, time to check out the trunk space on the WRX STI. Open it up, nice wide opening, lots of room. Those seats are gonna do the 60-40 split. And if you're wondering, well, what kind of space do we have there? About 13 cubic feet of space. That makes this car so usable, so wonderful. But enough talk about the STI. Let's go check out that muscle car over there and see what the Mustang is bringing to the table. All right, guys, we're inside the Mustang GT. This is just your standard Mustang GT. Now, there's a reason why I chose this particular one. First of all, it has a 6-speed manual, which sometimes trying to find one of those is like trying to find a needle in a haystack at a Ford dealership, because they're all automatics. Another reason is price point. Now, you can option a Mustang GT about 30 different ways from Sunday. This one is your entry-level Mustang GT. It does have the tech package with navigation and stuff, but other than that, it's pretty much entry level. And if you're wondering what is the price, MSRP right around $39,700. Let's see what you get for the money. Now, to the door panel, it's got that classic Mustang look. You do have that leatherette material on the armrest. I like the white stitching. What I am gonna zonk is that cloth. Where you're getting the Alcantara on the STI, you're just getting regular cloth out of your grandmother's sock drawer on that back portion of the door panel, but everything else is soft, and you do have a pocket down there for a hamburger and a milkshake, do it American style. When you get to the dash, that classic Mustang layout, we got a badge reminding us it's 55 years of the Mustang, simulated stitching, soft touch. You have this silver trim, which looks good, the 3 AC vents. There is your infotainment. Now, this is an 8-inch system, so you actually have a larger screen. This one does have navigation, just like the other one. We could hit controls, and it allows you to access all your AC controls very nicely from the screen, or if you notice, you have your manual controls for radio, and here's your AC controls. You got your P51 fighter pilot toggle switches with different drive modes, steering feel, and an aluminum stop button. Little tiny cubby for some Skittles, a 12-volt and a USB. There's that 6-speed, very, very nice, crisp shifting. The throws could be a little shorter, but we all know this isn't a Tremec, so we'll just take it. I'm just happy to have a 6-speed to showcase for you guys. Here's your Mustang Key Fob. It's got the pony on there just to remind you what kind of car you have. Flip it around, there's your buttons. Nice, easy to see. I like that. 2 cup holders. It's a little harder on the center console. You do have a good old-fashioned e-brake soft on the armrests. Open it up and you have, guess what? You could put some racing Twinkies in there, a 12 volt and a USB. Seats, they're cloth. Now, it's a nice material. I do like the Mustang script and the racing stripes, and the stitch work is great. They're just cloth. I wish there was a nice leather cloth combination. Electric on the bottom, manual on the back. That's a major zonk. Either give me manual, or power everything. Plenty of headroom though, no sunroof. That's the challenge of the day. I challenge you to find a brand new Mustang from the factory with a sunroof. Guess what? They don't make one. Your rear mirror is just a standard rear mirror, no auto dimming, no frameless like on the STI. But why don't you come on with the business end? I'll show you behind the wheel of this Mustang GT. All right, guys, business end. I do like the way they have the Mustang plate. This does light up at night, I promise. Seats, like I said, that electric bottom, manual back. Steering wheel, I like it, but I don't like it. I don't like the new style Mustang pony. I wish they would just go back to the old style. And it would be nice in the GTs to have a flat bottom wheel, but the thickness is great. Actually has a nice soft grip, that classic tri-bar setup, flat black on all the buttons. And then when it comes to instrumentation, your good old analog tach, speedometer, they are backlit LED. I could scroll through also a plethora of information. Plus, you could actually get gauges through there. That's something cool that the STI does not allow, and it gives you way more instrumentation than the Subaru does. Seating position is great. Pretty good amount of bolstering, which is nice. I just would like a little bit different style on the steering wheel. Pedals, if you notice, you're not getting any brushed aluminum. You get a smaller dead pedal and just everything's rubber. It's all rubber. So it would be nice to have some brushed aluminum, but why don't we go ahead, let's check out the back seat and see if you'd rather be in the STI or this Mustang GT. All right, guys, back seat time. Now, the thing that's a little annoying is it's easy to put the top portion forward real quick, but the bottom, you gotta stand here and kind of do this with the power seat. But I'm gonna go ahead, climb in. Remember, I'm 6 feet tall. Not too shabby, I've been in worse, but as you can see, this is it. So I'd rather be in that Subaru any day of the week, twice on Sundays. It's very cramped. You'd have to just like have a little bit of a lean going on here. I'm not even moving back the seat because you know what's gonna happen to my poor legs. They're gonna be smashed and broken into pieces. So one of those things that if you're driving a Mustang, you better have little kids, and that's about it that could fit back here. But why don't we go ahead, let's check out the trunk space and see how usable this muscle car really is. All right, guys, let's see what kind of junk we could put in the trunk. So open up the trunk. Actually not too shabby. The opening is a little tighter, but the amazing thing is you're gonna get the same exact amount of space, actually a little bit more, 14 cubic feet of space compared to about 13. Now you can fold the seats down, which is nice to give you that 60-40 split. Opening is a little tighter, but definitely a lot more volume on the inside. But let's get to the best part of any performance car. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take these two for a spin. All right, guys, we're in the Mustang GT. We're leaving Walker Ford with that 6-speed manual. Getting on throttle, here we go. Great sound of that V8. Nice engagement in the third. It was very, very nice feel. Is it as nice as the Tremec saying a GT350? No, but for a few seconds there, it felt really, really nice going into third gear. In the Mustang GT, you're obviously gonna have that 460 horsepower. That's never a bad thing, right? Compared to the 305 that's in the WRX STI. Surprisingly though, in this vehicle, visibility is great. It's not like being in a Camaro. If you've been in a Camaro, sort of like being in a cave. The Mustang, much easier to see out of. The only thing is the side mirrors are a little on the smaller side, but still not too shabby when it comes to overall visibility. I love the classic gauge layout. Now you can get the optional 12-inch display, which is a beautiful display, but I love the analog gauges. Real clear, easy to see, easy to read at a glance. But of course that V8 sound is what is king in this car. On throttle. Nice. Really, I'm telling you, this gearbox in this particular 5-liter, I'm really, really liking that second and third engagement. Really, really slots in nicely. I like the short height of the shifter itself. And you're just in an American icon. I mean, you're in a Ford Mustang, and of all Mustangs, you're in a Ford Mustang GT. So you're getting that great power, that rear-wheel drive fun, and it's pretty much at the same price point as the WRX STI. Now, obviously, when weather conditions go bad, the STI won't have to get out of the throttle because of the all-wheel drive, where you would have to drive this a little bit more gingerly. Interior-wise, it's one of those things where I think if you like that overall muscle car layout and feel of the Mustang, you're gonna love it. I think the STI does have a little bit more in certain areas of the fit and finish, especially because that one has the Alcantara with the leather interior and everything. But definitely, if you haven't been in a Mustang in a while, the Mustang GT, they really brought up the level of fit and finish and drivability. The seats are comfy. I love the seats in this car, even though they're cloth, still very, very comfortable, and really supportive. And you have plenty of headroom in here. Remember, I'm 6 feet tall, I got plenty of headroom, so that is another big plus, even though this is a two-door car compared to the STI being a four-door car. Driving down the highway, really, really smooth. They did a great job of trying to balance with the GT overall handling, but also giving you a nice ride as you're going down the road. You just hear that sound of that V8, which I could listen to that all day long. Let's see how she handles second gear on throttle, on the brakes, nice pedal feel. Turn in is crisp. Round and around and around, getting on the throttle. Here we go. Great sound coming from that V8, and having that ability, 7,500 RPMs, obviously a higher RPM limit than on the STI. This being a 2020, Mustang GT also has the automatic Rev-Match downshifting. So if you're not good at dancing, you got two left feet, the Mustang GT does have that technology where it blips the throttle for you as you're going through the gears, going back down to first gear, which is nice overall. Here, I'll show you an example. So I just go into third, just blips it for me. So back on throttle, on the brakes, second gear, you get that downshift, nice crisp steering, rolling on throttle, and we are off. But you can see acceleration-wise, there's no replacement for displacement. Yeah, the STI has a turbo, has the all-wheel drive. This just has more horsepower. 460 horsepower, 420 pound-feet of torque. If you need the power, then your decision's already been made for you. It's fascinating because these cars are so unique that you wouldn't compare them, but yet people are cross-shopping these two. Love the automatic Rev-Match downshifting. Right in the second gear, look at that, smooth as butter. Round and round, here we go. Rolling, get on throttle. The back end just pivots a little bit. All the way out to 7,500 RPM. That sound is intoxicating. It really, really is. They have done a great job with that Coyote V8. You know what? If you want more handling performance, you got performance package level 1, level 2. We got the Mach 1 coming out soon. And if you want to go big, hey, go Shelby GT350. But if we're comparing Subaru versus the Mustang GT, performance-wise, Mustang GT wins. It really does. But we're going to go ahead, get back to Walker Ford and wrap this up. So I'll see you in a split second. Guys, we're going to start off Subaru style in the WRX STI. Rolling out, I can hear that Cobb exhaust. Sounded so good. Here we are, second gear. You get the right sound, you get the right feel in this STI, and it feels really, really good. All-wheel drive, the best part is you just lay down the throttle and let the all-wheel drive grip you like a Puma to the asphalt, and you are off and running. When weather goes south and it's raining, you really don't have to get out of it. You can just lay in it, and that all-wheel drive really, really just is gonna stick you to the asphalt like Gorilla Glue. Visibility in this car is king. This is really where the STI just wins hands down over the Mustang. is visibility out the front, out the back, the sides, everything is great. Seating position is wonderful. And this 6-speed, I'm telling you, is a thing of beauty because it has such a nice feel to it. And if you've been on the fence between a WRX and an STI, totally different transmission. They're both 6 speeds, totally different transmission, totally different engine. We got the 2.5 liter turbo, and the WRX is the 2 liter turbo. So, but what I love about the STI, every time I get into one of these, it's like putting on your favorite shoes and going for a run, because the steering, hydraulic steering, way better feedback. Even though the electric steering in the Mustang GT is pretty good, the hydraulic steering in this car is that much better. And with that Cobb exhaust, the catback exhaust, you got the right sounds. I love the way you're able to configure that screen above the infotainment system to show the boost gauge. It can show you other readouts as well, whatever you want. Just driving this car is a dream. Guys, driving down the highway, you're gonna actually get a pretty decent ride. The suspension is a little bit more firm than a WRX, and it's a little bit more firm than the Mustang GT, the standard GT. Definitely more firm, but when the road gets twisty, that's really where it comes into its own very nicely. As you can see in Florida, we got stuff falling on the backs of trucks and all that, and that all-wheel drive is gonna allow you to go around whatever's falling out of the back of any truck. Pedal placement is perfect. I love the way that it's easy to heel-toe downshift. Now, the Mustang GT does have the automatic Rev-Match downshifting, so that is a win, a check for the Mustang GT, where if you want to heel-toe downshift, you got to do it yourself. It doesn't do it for you. But this car is so smooth and so driver-focused. It's wonderful. Third gear, on throttle. Love the sound. On the brakes, those 6-piston Brembos just gripping on those rotors so nicely. Look at this. All-wheel drive gripping, and then you're back on throttle. Great sound, great feel. Everything feels solid, super smooth, and just, I'm telling you, it's one of those things, if you have not been behind the wheel of one of these, you need to, especially if you're cross-shopping with a Mustang GT. You need to get behind the wheel of one of these, because I'm telling you, it's really driver engaged focus, unlike the standard Mustang GT. Now, if you go performance pack, then that's a little bit of a different story. Here we go. Acceleration, first gear, second gear, third, on the brakes, downshift in the second, nice. Turn in is great. Look at this. Here we go. Here we go. Coming out of turn, all-wheel drive, getting this grip down. Yeah, a little bit of pop goes a long way. Felt good. That's what I'm talking about with an STI. What you saw right there is what you can experience with that all-wheel drive, with that boxer rumble, and the gearbox just on the money. That's what it's all about. It really is so fun to drive this car. And are you going to beat the Mustang GT in a race? Drag strip? No, but this is where we go. This is how we do it. Downshift in the third, in the second, nice on the brakes, round this bend, super smooth. On throttle, here we go. Really, really wonderful setup. This car just puts a smile on your face. Like I was saying, are you going to beat a Mustang GT in the quarter mile? No. But when the road gets twisty, if you know how to drive, and depending on what the road conditions are, you're going to surprise that Mustang GT owner, I promise you. One more time, just for you guys. Second gear, downshift, brakes feel great. Look at the grip, look at the grip. Super smooth, look at this. Really nice, that was a good one. Awesome. We need to swap seats. I'm talking too much about this Subaru. You know how I feel about these. Let's get back to Walker Ford, get into the Mustang GT, and see how that one goes. I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, been another wonderful day here at Walker Ford. Definitely got to thank Frank Walker, Weston Walker, Tracy, Benji, Mark, Austin, Greg, the whole crew here. You have choices, okay? You have choices when it comes to performance cars. With these two, they're so different, but yet for the same amount of money. And I know a lot of you would probably be like, well, Joe, obviously you're at Walker Ford, you're gonna pick the Mustang GT. Nah, I'm going, if it was my money, I would go with that Subaru WRX STI. It just, the driving engagement, the overall feel, it jives with me a little bit better than this Mustang GT. Definitely straight line performance. You're not replacing displacement with that Coyote 5-liter V8. But if I was gonna go Mustang GT, it definitely has to at least have the performance pack level 1, which of course is gonna bring that price up a little bit higher. But if it's comparisons like these that you want to see on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit the subscribe button. I promise you it'd be worth coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description. Get yourself some Rady's Rides merch. Got to give it up to Big Guns McGee, helping me get these two. Thank you, Tom. And if you want to know which way he would go WRX STI out of these two all day long. So there you have it, the two of us. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.